Hi, babe. Welcome to the Horror Babe Show. I'm your host, Chelsea Beller. So I was sitting on the couch with my boyfriend, Mike. Mike's Monsters, to those in the know. And of course, the question came up, what do you want to watch? Well, he suggested Under Paris. And I haven't really had my ear to the horror ground lately, so I asked him, what is that? He said it's French and it's about a shark. And I said, I'm in. So let's review Under Paris. Before we get into this, because there's a lot to unpack here, I have a few announcements. I had a new trailer come out. I'm crazy proud of it. Katie Burgandy, she cut it together. She's a rock star. I love it so much. Check it out. It's on my channel's homepage. It makes me so happy. I literally cried when I watched it for the first time, the second time, the third time. I just kept watching it because it's so great. I love it so much. I love you, Katie. Okay, also, if you would like to support the show, because this shit ain't free, you can now become a member of my Patreon. That's right, I have a Patreon where I provide exclusive Horror Babe content. You won't want to miss this, but I understand you're not ready to make the commitment just yet. I get it. I've been there. You can buy me a coffee. Vanna. That's right. You can just buy me a coffee. No membership. It's a one-time thing. Plus, if you do buy me a coffee, I'll shout you out in the next episode. Speaking of, thank you, Saritha, for 3 coffees. You know I need them. Okay. Let's get into this. We open on a scene in the middle of the ocean where there is what is known as the 7th continent. This part of the ocean, the entirety of the surface is covered in trash. That's right. It's real. Look it up. It's one of the most disturbing things I've seen, and I've seen some pretty disturbing things. There's a group of conservationists swimming in the water. They're looking for her. Well, a gigantic shark, adequately named Lilith, shows up. They've been tracking this baby shark, but she's definitely not a baby. And she's definitely not the 2.5 feet long mako shark that they last saw. She's definitely somewhere between a Bruce and a Meg. Well, turns out Lilith was a little peckish because she ends up eating the entire team, with the exception of one, Sophia. Well, obviously, that was a little traumatizing for Sophia, so she takes a few years to herself, and after a few years go by, she's shanghaied to work with this rogue team of youthful conservationists. They're tracking her shark, because hacking? That's convenient. Well, it turns out this shark Lilith is swimming along the French river known as Seine. You know, sharks aren't supposed to swim in rivers or fresh water, especially gigantic ones. 2 of the younger conservationists go into the river at night, but one of them, of course, gets arrested. So now the police are involved. Sophia tries to get the police to investigate this whole situation, but of course they're like, lady, there's no shark in the Seine. The police see this big fish with their own eyes. This all goes from bad to worse because there is a Paris triathlon happening in the Seine. Sophia finds out these rogue conservationists are going down into the catacombs where the shark is now. They plan to use sonar to get the shark to leave back into salt water. Imagine, you're down in the catacombs of Paris with a group of conservationists, and then the police show up to gently escort you to safety. Now imagine, just for argument's sake, you're a man-eating shark. Do you see this as a buffet? I kind of do. Well, Lilith, turns out she's been a little busy by herself. She's procreated quite a number of times, actually. She now has so many children. She could have her own reality show. Her and her kids definitely see this opportunity as a buffet. This scene quickly becomes the most chaotic bloodbath I've ever seen. Mike and I were laughing uncontrollably at the absurdity of this scene. So many people died because you're in the catacombs under Paris, and they're trying to get to safety. And there's these like ledges around the outside that they're all trying to walk along, but there's tons of people in here and they're falling into the water, and they fall in for just like a moment, and then they pull, their arm stump out of the water, and it's like there was no struggle. The shark just and goodbye, and that's it. You just don't have an arm anymore. The way Art the Clown can just break off a forearm without breaking a sweat, this was how limbs would just go missing. These sharks were like Art the Clown. That is my nightmare. Well, now the plan, of course, is to blow up the sharks, right? You were thinking, oh, why don't they just blow up the sharks? Yeah, me too. Nothing could go wrong there. Everything went wrong. Oh my God. She's had even more children now, right? There were thousands of sharks down there. Sophia and the police try to execute this shark explosion, which kind of works until the explosion causes unexploded ordnance to explode. I didn't even know these were just normally in the Seine, but that makes sense because there's been like a bunch of wars, right? So there would be unexploded explosives just hanging out, and then this happens. And then everything goes to shit. Bridges explode and collapse, people die. Paris, essentially all of Paris, oh God, essentially all of Paris becomes underwater because of these back-to-back multiple explosions. Lilith and her children, all of them, live. Sure. Of course. Oh, the sharks live. Yeah, and that's it. That's the end. That escalated in a way I could have never expected. First of all, they never explained the shark. How she just grew like 10 feet overnight. Or I don't know if it was overnight, but she wasn't supposed to be that big. She wasn't supposed to be a gigantic man-eating lightning-fast shark who can procreate by herself. What is this? I for sure thought, oh, this is going to be a film about conservation. Great, because, there was nothing subtle about it in the beginning. So I thought, okay, there's gotta be some kind of, it's global warming as an explanation. She grew because of trash, underwater radioactive spiders. Something. Give me something. So then I'm going, well, what is the message here? If there even is one, you would think, since they started off so strong with the conservation in the beginning, there's got to be some kind of let's save the planet message, right? Is the message no matter what you do, we're fucked? That's the message I'm getting. And I'm like, you know what, French? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. We are fucked. Sorry to be a cynic, but it's true. There's so much trash. There's so much pollution. The world is not in a great state. If you're unaware, please, I plead you, pick up a book, do some research. We're not in a great way. And I feel like this movie was a metaphor for that. Just an explosive, gigantic man-eating shark metaphor. Nothing subtle about it. Oh, God. So, my thought on this movie is, it's like Jaws. Duh. And the insanity and utter chaos that is The Meg. My monster-loving Mike pointed out this movie is Aliens. I was like, you're right. Shit, you're right. Sophia is Ripley. She has been through this before with a giant monster. She's trying to explain to the government guys, hey, listen, I've dealt with this monster before. They don't listen until people die. And then they're like, oh shit, we should have listened to that chick. Maybe we should listen to her now, but then it's too late. And the big bad is now an enormous self-reproducing mama evil who sicks her children on anyone who looks at her funny. And then everything blows up. Aliens. This movie is Aliens. Oh, but the interesting thing about this film is the AI dubbing. Okay, so right, this is a French movie, right? And of course, they're speaking French the entire time. There's not a lick of English. But in the beginning of this movie, I noticed they're obviously not speaking English. Like, the voices don't necessarily match the people, but their lips do. And that was curious to me until I realized, oh, this is AI dubbing. I've heard of this. I don't know if you've heard of this. I would look it up because I don't have any information other than this experience, but it was so interesting. So literally AI, in whatever way it works, moves the actor's lips to match the English voiceover, which is crazy. I would have completely missed it if it had been done better, because AI is still what it is right now. You know, it hasn't quite reached that level yet where, you know, in some things we're not able to really tell, is this AI, is it not? In this, let me tell you, it's pretty noticeable, unfortunately. For instance, the actor's lips, when they're the one that's talking, if someone walks in front of them, their lips physically move slightly off of their face. So in that way, you can kind of tell. There was also a weird light around their mouths at certain points. Yeah, just very interesting. I have not seen this before. If you've seen this before in another film, I would love to know your experience, if it was something you didn't even really notice or if it was extremely noticeable. Like, I'm very curious about this, so I would love to know more. Yeah, all in all, it was fun. It was definitely out there. It's certainly not cinema at its finest, but it's a fun movie. It's a modern shark movie. You know, the bigger the shark, the bigger the splash, the bigger the chaos. Yeah, it was definitely a modern shark movie. Have you seen this movie? Have you seen Under Paris? I would love to know your thoughts as well. I'm still just completely in awe of some of these scenes. Like, what? The acting was great. The writing was fine. I'm still confused as to how and why. I think I just have to chalk it up to it's French, maybe. Or I don't know. Or maybe something got lost in translation. Like, I have no idea. I have no idea. I would love to know your opinion. Please comment below. Have you seen AI dubbing? Tell me about other foreign horror films you've seen, like your recommendations. So yeah, shout it out. Well, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, follow, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Letterboxd to see what I'm watching and what I'm rating. Bye, babe.